Chase Ink Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
I've had a number of surgeries, and frankly, I don't have time to rehab a surgery and an operation at this point in my life. I didn't want to take time off my kids' activities.
That's why former college and pro football player Bobby Carpenter turned to QC Kinetics. We couldn't be happier saving our patients like him from operating rooms and long recoveries.
They will resume like normal activity for me, which is a lot of running. It's a lot of workouts. I've been very, very blessed with how it's been able to hold up.
For so long, patients have accepted surgery as the only solution. But with new technologies, the medical professionals at QC Kinetics use regenerative treatments, your body's own biologics, to help heal and restore knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.
I actually ran into a friend of mine over at our golf course, and he had his knee done. It felt so well. He'd got his shoulder done. He goes, I can't thank you enough. He'd heard the commercial on the air, and so it's feeling great.
Find out how you can avoid surgery and finally get relief. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 602-837-PAIN. That's 602-837-PAIN. 602-837-PAIN.
Ooh, Del Taco?
Yep, they got these new boxes that are loaded with my faves.
Hey, big boxes, come on, can I get a Del, yeah?
Del, yeah. What was that?
Oh, I bring these guys everywhere. Really enhances the experience.
Introducing El Big Boxes from Del Taco. Choose from the $5 Classico, the $7 Mex Faves, and $9 Amerimex box. More food, more flavor, more value. Only at Del Taco.
Del, yeah.
Price of participation may vary.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix. It's the lunch break.
A base running blunder dooms the Diamondbacks, and the Suns plan to introduce their new general manager a little bit later on today. Welcome into the Tuesday edition of the lunch break here on KDUS AM 1060. Streaming on the KDUS AM 1060 app, and you can watch the show over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube channel. A lot to get to today. The morning meeting, I will tell you, it's sidebarred in a bunch of different directions that I fear are going to sprinkle all over the show at some point. The morning, a top 5 all-time morning meeting today for producer Evan and I.
I think that's number one.
Star Wars trilogy, Marvel movies, debating about the 2020 Tampa Bay Rays. It'll all make sense at some point throughout the course of the show, but just a little bit of the flavor that has sprinkled itself here on the program today. But we start with the baseball team last night. And that baseball team, the Arizona Diamondbacks, losing at home 5-4 to the New York Mets. And it is the mistake that everybody wants to talk about. It is the mistake that I think doomed this team in this game last night. This is exactly where we should all start today here on the program, and that is Josh Naylor's base running mistake in the 8th inning. The Diamondbacks dug themselves a bit of a hole in this game, down 5-1 after Francisco Lindor hit a 3-run home run to make it 5-1 New York. But the Diamondbacks put on their answer back hats. No, not the new purple Serpiente City Connect hats, the answer back hats, and they rallied against this Mets bullpen. And it felt like that game last year that they played in August where they rallied in the 8th inning and Corbin Carroll hit a grand slam that put the team in front. They put those guys on the bases, and Corbin Carroll delivered a grand slam to put the Diamondbacks in front of that one. I think it was last August. It was the end of August that these two teams played that game at Chase Field. And Carroll hit that grand slam, and you could see the rally starting to form. Dedel Nunez, who's making his season debut for the Mets, comes in, walks the first 3 batters that he faces, and you are set up perfectly. 3 guys on, nobody out. Here is your chance to come through, rally against this Mets bullpen, which has been faltering as of late. And Eugenio Suarez hits a ball to the deepest part of the ballpark, hits a ball to deep center field. It bounces off the back wall. You're watching at home, fully expecting that score bug to say 5-5, expecting Suarez to be standing on second base with a bases clearing, game-tying double. And you know what? You didn't have that. Instead, what did you have? You had Eugenio Suarez standing on first base. And instead of him standing on second base, that is where Josh Naylor was standing. What on earth was Josh Naylor thinking last night during this game? A ball hit to the deepest part of the ballpark that Tyrone Taylor, the center fielder for the Mets, was only going to be able to catch that ball if he somehow became Spider-Man. The only way Tyrone Taylor was coming down with that catch is if he climbed the wall like Spider-Man. You see why we were referencing Marvel movies in the morning meeting? Climbed the wall like Spider-Man and caught the baseball. He played it off a hop. Josh Naylor went halfway and took a couple steps back towards first base. And so by the time Taylor had fielded it off the bounce, he was only able to get to second base. One of the longest singles you will see in your life. A 400-plus foot single off the bat of Eugenio Suarez. You have to, at a minimum in that spot, get to third base. By not getting to third base, it changes the complete, I'll steal producer Evan's word from the morning meeting, the complete complexion of that inning. Changes everything about that inning that Josh Naylor is only standing on second base. If he's standing on third base instead of second, I'm not even saying he has to score on the ball. If he's standing at third instead of second, you have a runner at third with less than 2 outs, Gabby Moreno due up, a chance for a sac fly to tie the game. But instead, you have first and second with 1 out, and now a sacrifice fly can only advance the runner to third. The situational awareness there, the inability to get to at least third base absolutely doomed the Diamondbacks in that inning. And I'll tell you, this team right now, they're not good enough for mistakes like that. They don't have the talent. They aren't offensively pouring on runs. They aren't pitching-wise dominating teams. They don't have a shutdown bullpen that can overcome these little mental mistakes. They are down their 2 best relievers right now. They had to, in this game, skip Corbin Burns and go to a spot starter. They are not playing good enough baseball across the board to warrant these types of mistakes. They're not good enough to overcome them. If you are getting 6-7 solid innings every single night of 1 run or less from your starters, you can overcome a mistake like that. Ryan Thompson had a blow-up inning, gave up the 3-run home run in the 7th to Lindor. Shelby Miller blew a save the other night. That's your closer. You're down your 2 best relievers. Things overall aren't going very well for this baseball team right now. You aren't good enough to have that type of gaffe. You are not good enough to overcome that type of mistake. It changes the entire approach for Gabby because now he knows I have to get a hit here. I have to put one in the gap to score Naylor from second. Instead, if he's standing on third, it's I just have to hit a well-placed fly ball. And Naylor, not the fastest guy in the world, but if I hit a ball deep enough, he's going to score. We're going to try. You are the tying run on first base. You have to have more awareness in that spot. These are the types of things that come back to haunt you as a baseball team. They're not good enough to overcome this right now.
It's so bad. And listen, I was there last night. I'm sitting down the third base line. There is no question off the bat of whether this ball's hitting the wall.
There's no doubt that ball is either hitting the wall
or over the wall.
Or it's out of the ballpark. That's it. Again, Tyrone Taylor had to have been Spider-Man to climb up the wall and catch the ball last night.
And to turn back to first, I mean, it ruins an entire rally. Not only changes the inning, it changes the game because when you're in a 5-5 game and you get out of, what was the top of the 9th then, you completely change the game with that. You don't have to take the extra base on a stolen base in the 9th. You don't have to do things like that. And listen, they've ran themselves out of the inning in the 9th. We can talk about the controversial call. There's no controversy.
He was out.
He was out.
He was out.
He was out. He got a bad jump on a pitcher who typically doesn't hold people and a catcher who doesn't throw anybody out. And listen, you bite the bullet. But why you're going there too, I don't know. Last night, was the culmination of what has been a season full of injuries and mistakes that has cost them a real chance to this point at competing in this division.
You were rallying against the Mets bullpen, and you had them in all sorts of bad shape. But they couldn't. Reed Garrett came into the game, and he got the first out against Pavin Smith. And then after that, Naylor hit the single, and then Suarez crushed the ball to center field. I mean, the ball was getting hit very well by the Diamondbacks off of the Mets bullpen. You just have to have more awareness in that spot to take the extra base. You just have to, because it changes the way Gabby operates in that at-bat. To your point, if you get that run in, it changes the way you operate in the ninth inning when the game's tied compared to it being 5-4. This team right now is not good enough offensively. They're not good enough with their starting pitching. They're not good enough in their bullpen to overcome these types of mistakes. You stop that rally. You stop that rally by not getting to third base at least. There's an argument that you should score on that play with how well that ball was hit. But you need to at least be standing on third base. So to not stand on third base in that spot completely changes the way Gabby has to approach his at-bat. He strikes out swinging. And then the Mets are able to get out of the jam, and they're able to hold on to a one-run lead. Josh Naylor had a blunder. He had a mistake. It's going to happen. It's 162 games. Everybody at some point is going to have a blunder somewhere, either defensively or on the base pass. You get a couple of them throughout the season. But this one right here, the point, you can't make these types of mistakes. You can't overcome these types of mistakes. You just can't do it. Not when you don't know who your closer is every single night. Not when every single reliever within the last week or so has had a bad outing. Not when the same night that this happens, you skipped your $210 million free agent starting pitcher because he's dealing with injuries. That is the proof that you don't have a huge margin for error as a baseball team right now. You just don't. You have to get the little things right to overcome some of the injuries that you're facing right now. And last night, the Diamondbacks did not do the little things correctly, and it led to them losing the opener of this series. I wanted to talk about Ryan Nelson. That's what I wanted to talk about. I thought he did an admirable job considering the circumstances, considering he hadn't been super stretched out to this point. You knew he wasn't going to go deep into the game. But what you ask of Ryan Nelson in that spot, replacing Corbin Burns, hey, man, can you give us a chance to win the baseball game tonight? Can you pitch well enough so that in the late innings we have a chance? And that's exactly what Ryan Nelson did last night. Yes, he gave up a home run to Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso just seems to have his number. I think it's like his fourth or fifth home run that Pete has hit off of Ryan Nelson. But 2 runs in the 4+ innings of work. We said yesterday 75 pitches was probably where he was going to max out. Ryan Nelson's task yesterday was not to go 8 shutout innings. You would like to see that, but that wasn't his goal. His goal, give us a chance to win the baseball game. And that is exactly what Ryan Nelson did. Now, we've wondered aloud yesterday, was this somewhat of an audition for Ryan Nelson to potentially steal a rotation spot at some point? I don't know if I would classify yesterday's start as good enough to steal Eduardo Rodriguez's rotation spot. But I think Ryan Nelson did prove that when the Diamondbacks need to go to a starter, he's going to be the first guy that they ask. He's going to be the first guy that they call, because in those spots, you just want your starter to give your team a chance. And that is exactly what Ryan Nelson did last night. Ryan Thompson had a bad inning, gave up the 3-run home run to Francisco Lindor and the base running blunder in the 8th inning. You want the 2 turning points of this game? You want the 2 things that led directly to this loss? It was another spin of the wheel of misfortune. I would spin it, but it looks like my computer is frozen in here. I would spin the wheel of misfortune because it was Ryan Thompson's turn to have a blow-up inning out there in the pen, and you made a critical base-running blunder, a base-running blunder that right now you aren't good enough to overcome. It's that simple. That was the game last night, those 2 things.
They are in a 1-run game. Ryan Thompson comes in, and you have the bottom of the order. It's so important just to get out of that 7th. And even if you give up 1, okay.
What you can't do is have Lindor. Yeah.
But you put on 2 for Lindor. You give up the single and the double. And then Lindor hits a ball that I still think was going up when by the time it hit the back wall of the pool, it felt like. I mean, it was so bad. And everybody knew as soon as Lindor came up, this game is 5-1. And then they get into the 8th and you make more mistakes. They're not a winning baseball team. right now.
And that the Alvarez infield single that started it all is just a routine. I shouldn't say it's a routine play, but it's a play. The ball hit on the infield, a little grounder, and it's a throw to first base that gets dropped. That allows Alvarez to get onto first base. Taylor hits the double that sets it up, and then Lindor hits the home run. You let the bottom of the order turn things over for the top. See, these are all the little things we're talking about. You let the bottom of the order beat you. You then let Lindor get a shot with runners in scoring position. There's a big difference of him hitting a solo home run in that spot than that being a 3-run home run. 3-1 is so different than 5-1. You have to take care of the bottom part of the order. You have to, as the tying run on first base, you have to know I need to get to at least the third. At least get to third. If I get thrown out at third base, that's no different than really being stuck at second base, honestly. It really isn't.
Because then you're just at second with 2 outs, which is where you were after the strikeout. It doesn't change the inning at all, really.
Much more for us to get to from this game tonight, and we'll get you ready, or the game last night, we'll get you ready for the game tonight with Zach Gallen on the mound. We'll do that a little bit later on here on the program. I've got 2 announcements to make here. We'll do them here. Normally, this is where I give you the phone number, 480-864-1060. I will do that. That's one way for you to chime in. You can also chime in over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. But that phone number, 480-864-1060, you're going to need that. We're going to tell you about this all week long, but Fridays, we're going to turn into a little something fun. On Fridays, we normally give away our Von Hansen's gift card, and we're going to do something a little fun with it this week. And if it goes well, if we have some success with it, we want to make it a recurring bit here on the program. Fridays are Take Fridays. You want a chance to win the Von Hansen's gift card, you have to call into the program, 480-864-1060, and you have to give us your best take. Now, let me just say something very clearly. Don't be performative. Don't amp up the take. You got to believe in it. I'm going to interrogate these takes on the air. So I'm going to really dig down deep and see if you actually believe in these takes. And what producer Evan and I define as the best take, you're going to walk away with the gift card. So Take Fridays. We're going to do this every Friday. Our first Friday will be this Friday. So the phone number, 480-864-1060. Now, listen, you have all week long to practice these takes. You have all week long to call in, workshop these takes so that on Friday, you can make sure you put your best foot forward. So looking forward to that on Friday. And so 480-864-1060 if you want to join the program today or the rest of the week. And then obviously we'll get to that on Friday. Now, another announcement, because yesterday I did a promo read, and I'll do it again now because if you're listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app, you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks when they take on the Rockies on Saturday, May 17th at Chase Field. And then I read out loud, I said, pick up the replica home jersey at the game on May 17th. And you can stick around for the awesome post-game fireworks show after the game against the Rockies. And I said, hey, whoa, the jersey, it's not a giveaway. I was wrong. I was mistold. See, I'm like Ron Burgundy. You just put something in front of me and you put something in the fine print. I'm just going to read what you give me. And I didn't do a good job researching this. If you win the prize here on the radio station for the 4 tickets, you get the 4 tickets. You still have to show up early, and then you get the replica home jersey. Now, I will tell you, I don't know what number of fan you have to be. I don't know if it's first 10,000, 25,000. That information wasn't handed to me.
So get in.
So, if you win these tickets, get there early, or if you get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT, get there early for the replica home jersey at the game. But you don't win the jersey for winning the tickets. You just win the tickets, and then if you get to the game early, see, this is why I need things written out for me. It needs to be very clear. You leave me to my own devices, or you just write something down without more description. I'm just going to read it exactly as you gave it to me. So, okay, announcements out of the way. Back to the regularly scheduled program. When we come back, it was a wild night in the NBA playoffs. A couple of game ones that went down to the wire. We'll talk about it next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Stevie Nicks. One special night, October 7th, PHX Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Stevie Nicks. Live at PHX Arena
Hello, everybody. Eric Bryan, owner of Precision Air and Plumbing. If you're having plumbing problems, we've got you covered. My plumbing technicians are the best in the business. That's why we've been voted Arizona's #1 ranked company for more than a decade. Whether you've got clogged drains, drippy faucets, need a new water heater, or even a full house repipe, Precision does it all. So make the Precision decision today and call us at 602-765-PIPE.
Precision with Precision Air.
Hey, it's Austin Clark, owner of Moxie Pest Control. Did you know there's over 1,000 pest control companies in Arizona? So why is Moxie the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona? Because at Moxie, we put people first, and we believe in paying it forward. That means kindness every time. It means showing up on time, going the extra mile, and treating your home like it's our own. And by taking a little extra time in our service, we make a few friends along the way. Our field experts are the kind of people you'll feel good having around your spouse, your kids, and your pets. Yes, we've trained them to solve pest problems better, but also to care more, smile more, and earn your trust at every visit. We offer same-day services in most cases, and we'll even give you 50% off your first service when you call. Call 888-MOXIE-10. That's 888-MOXIE-10. Moxie Pest Control, the highest and most reviewed pest control company in Arizona.
Jim Rome here with your Rome Report. A little love for our equine athletes and the Kentucky Derby. After all, you had more than 150,000 people brave the elements at Churchill Downs Saturday, with millions more watching at home, and were treated to an epic race. That's exactly what you want to see. The two best in the field, in this case, the favorite journalism and the third choice sovereignty, hooking up in a stretch duel. No excuses, no steward's inquiry or ref show, and may the best animal win. And that's exactly what we got. Journalism ran his eyeballs out, but did encounter some early trouble in the race, probably suffered from a hot pace up front, while sovereignty saved ground, picked up some of the pieces from the fast pace, and finished like a freight train in the slop. Great race. No catastrophic injuries, no controversy, and racing breathes a sigh of relief and has a great day on the sport's biggest stage. I loved it. I'm Jim Rome.
O'Reilly. You need parts? We got parts. Product availability? Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Upgrade to Brake Best Select brake pads for $10 more, or upgrade to Brake Best Select Pro or Import Direct pads for just $20. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
A wild night in the NBA playoffs, a pair of semifinal games that went down to the wire. First, it was game 1 up in Boston between the Knicks and Celtics that went to overtime. It saw the Knicks take down Boston and take a 1-0 series lead, stealing one on the road, 108-105. Boston blows a 20-point lead in this one to the Knicks. They also miss 45 three-pointers. Listen, you got athletes that are making millions of dollars. You could pay producer Evan and I a lot less to miss 45 threes.
I would eventually hit one too.
Are you Against NBA defense? Or
Oh, no.
So if you were out there on the floor, see, that the point I'm making is you could have put us on the exact same floor last night in the same scenario. We would have also missed the 45 shots.
Yes.
I'm not making one against NBA defense.
No.
I have to
in an open gym. I'll hit one with 45.
Sure, you gave me 45 shots in an open gym where I could pick my spot and it was like I was in the 3-point contest. Yeah, I'm knocking down 1 3. It's going to take a little bit. Basketball was never my sport growing up. I'm 5'10".
Wasn't mine either.
I'm 5'10". I can't play great defense. I have a decent amount of quickness. I don't have size.
See, defensively,
I don't have
I was
length.
pretty good. I was physical.
So you're just bumping people.
Yeah, I get 5 fouls. I'm not taking them home. We had like this little in-house league. Can't go home with them.
It's like timeouts. You can't take them home with you. They don't carry over to the next game. I might as well use as many of them as I can.
Yeah.
I've got 5 fouls. I'm going to use as many of them as I can. I wish more teams would employ that with some guy. Like, you're up against a team that you're just outmatched against, right? You're down 2-0 in a series or you're down 3-0 in a series and you just need to rally. I would take the most physical guy off of my bench, a guy that maybe I was not playing throughout the course of the season, and I would take that person aside and I'd be like, listen, you get 5 fouls. I want you, before I see you again, before you check out of this basketball game, I want your number called 5 times. I want you to use every single one of those fouls. I want the aggression level turned up. If you get a technical, if you get a flagrant, so be it. This is a guy I haven't used this guy in months. I'm deploying him down 3-0 to be physical, to just maybe try to change some momentum. I wish more teams would do that.
It would be awesome.
You got 5 fouls. You might as well use some of them.
No, I literally had a coach tell me that. You have 5 fouls. You might as well use them.
That is some great coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent coaching. You know who kind of uses that coaching? Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks.
Yes.
Because he demands the most out of his guys. He demands the most out of his guys all season long. The heavy minutes that they play, they don't have a deep bench compared to some other teams. And last night you saw that on display, where the physicality, the defensive nature of the way Tom Thibodeau wants his teams to play, that came to show itself late in the game in the fourth quarter into overtime, and on the final play of the game where Mikal Bridges stole the ball like he was a defensive back going for a 50-50 ball with a wide receiver. Just stole it from him.
It was awesome.
Just ripped it away. Oh, Jaylen Brown, you're going to try to take this to tie the game? Nope, this belongs to me. Just stole it from him. And the Knicks stole game 1 of this series. And I think I think many people going into this series, myself included, looked at Boston, looked at how well they had played in the regular season, looked at how well they had played against the Knicks, beat them all 4 times they met up in the regular season, thought this was going to be an easier series for Boston. After the Knicks won last night and how they won last night, this feels like it's going to be a series. Because what you gave the Knicks last night, if you're Boston, by blowing a 20-point lead at home, by losing in overtime, by playing that physical brand of basketball and allowing the Knicks to be right at home. See, the Knicks, they love that. Brunson loves it. Bridges loves it. OG loves it. They love those gritty, tough, back and forth. The pressure, they thrive in it. Why? Because all year long, Tom Thibodeau puts them out in every single scenario known to man. He plays them heavy minutes. He plays them all the time. They are so battle-tested when it comes to the postseason that when they are in these spots where it's a back and forth game and they need a bucket, Jalen Brunson looks like he's just playing at the park with some buddies. He just feels super comfortable in those moments, all because of the work that they do in the regular season. And what you did by blowing that 20-point lead, by losing game 1 at home, by allowing the Knicks to get their first win against Boston this season and to do it in that building, you gave the Knicks something they did not have up until this point: confidence. They had 0 confidence in playing the Boston Celtics. Boston handed them the confidence, and they handed them the blueprint on how to beat them. Now, is Boston going to miss 45 threes every single night out? No. But you can bet your last dollar that if the game is close, it's a 1-possession, 2-possession game in the final minute, I'm going to take the Knicks over the Celtics almost every time.
What the Knicks did last night by coming back from 20, and you and I in the morning meeting watched the Colin Cowherd take, calling it the most meaningless upset in game 1 he's ever seen. And then you talk about the 2001 Sixers who beat the Lakers, and that meant absolutely nothing. This game is not that. This was you down 20, and you bullied yourself back in the game. You went into TD Garden last night and showed we can physically bully you back into the game. And they did that in overtime at the end of regulation. And when they needed a bucket, they have one guy that I would take over anybody in the league today that says, go get me a clutch bucket. And it's not because he's the greatest shot maker or anything like that. It's just ball in his hands at the end of the game. I trust him more. And it comes down to he's a winner. He is a winner. Jalen Brunson has won at every level he's ever seen basketball. And I continue to believe he'll win in the NBA.
If you could pick two players right now that you had to put the ball in their hands to try to win a basketball game, I think the two guys that I would pick played last night, Jalen Brunson and Nikola Jokic. And that leads us right into the second game last night, which was the Nuggets beating the Thunder in Oklahoma City to take a 1-0 series lead. And the thing that everybody wants to talk about is the Thunder decision after going up 3 to immediately foul with Jokic sitting on the sidelines. I'll defend this. This is what Oklahoma City is as a basketball team. This is the way that they have played all year long. It is their identity. It is who they are as a team. I would say the same thing about the way Dan Campbell is aggressive in the playoffs. I said the same thing when the Rays took out Blake Snell in the 2020 World Series. I have no issue with a coach, with a team, with an organization going down with what brought them to the dance. You dance with the one that brought you. What has brought Oklahoma City to be the number 1 seed in the West, over the Houston Rockets who are sitting at home, over this Denver Nuggets team, over the Lakers, over everybody in the West. The reason why they're the number 1 seed is because of the way that they play and the way that they coach. And this is part of the way that they play as a team, that when they are up 3, they foul. So they fouled. And if you want to make a criticism from last night's game, you need to criticize Chet Holmgren for missing those 2 free throws. That's where they went wrong. Chet missing those 2 free throws. The fouling is fine. If he makes those 2 free throws, we're not talking about their decision to foul up 3 with 11 seconds to go. It's a footnote. It may not even come up if he hits those 2 free throws. The reason why it comes up is because you play the foul game and you just couldn't make your free throws. It is that simple. That is what went wrong last night for the Thunder. But credit to the Nuggets, man, because they battle. Jokic takes over a game when he wants to. I'm sorry, that's the best player on the planet.
Not even close.
That is the best basketball player on the planet. And if that's how we were giving out the MVP award, he should have it. I still think it's going to go to SGA. But if we were giving the MVP to who is currently the best player in the sport, it is Jokic, and it's not even close. Took over that game last night. Said, you know what? You talked about bullying, the Knicks bullying their way back in. Jokic said, I'm going to bully my team to victory. You can't stop me. I'm just going to hit an extra level that you can't match. And that's what he did last night.
I just think, back to the fouling part of the game, that is what you've done. That is what you do. I don't mind it there. I mind the actual philosophy of it all. Why foul there? You put yourself back on heels where you need to make 2 free throws. You only put the pressure back on your guys. If they go down, hit both, then you're in a position where they're going to foul me, and now I have to hit both.
If you want to criticize the theory in general and why they would even do it at all, that's fine. We can have that debate. But
I think that's the bigger debate.
Sure, but then do this in November. Do this in December. Have this debate, have this conversation. Don't get to the postseason, and then when they do it, act all surprised. What are they thinking? How could they foul in that spot? Really? This is what they do. It's who they are as a team. I know Jokic is sitting on the sidelines. I get it. And maybe there needs to be a little bit more awareness. But I would tell you, if your reasoning for being critical is that they didn't know Jokic was on the floor, that's your criticism. They knew Jokic wasn't on the floor. They knew that because if they didn't, they're bad at their jobs. But they foul because that's what they do in these spots.
But Chris, I do believe circumstances dictates the decisions you make.
Context matters, absolutely.
And to not have what you just called the best player in the world,
yes,
not on the floor at the end of the game, take your opportunity. That is your chance. That is your chance to play without Jokic on the floor. The best player, the reason the Nuggets are here. And you had that opportunity. It is a lack of awareness. Okay. And I truly believe that the players on the floor in a mental lapse did not understand the importance of fouling to get Jokic back in the game.
So is the because I think the argument is Jokic isn't on the floor. They couldn't find a way to get him into the game, so just play defense because you're up 3, right?
And you also fouled too soon, which I also have a problem with.
That's fine. But let's just go with the first theory of Jokic isn't on the floor. Make them try to score a bucket without him. Who hit the game winner? Wasn't Nikola Jokic. It was Aaron Gordon. So if the argument is just play defense against everybody else, that's exactly what they did on the final possession after Chet missed the second free throw. And Aaron Gordon is the one who sent the Thunder home down 0-1 into game 2. So again, this all doesn't happen if you can defend Aaron Gordon better and Chet makes his free throws. That's it. That's what this boils down to. But instead, we want to go back to you shouldn't have fouled with 11 seconds left with Jokic sitting on the sidelines. Jokic isn't the one who hit the game winner. It was Aaron Gordon. So if the argument was to play defense, you couldn't play defense against Aaron Gordon. You left him wide open. You let Russ take the ball up the court, and he hit a wide open Aaron Gordon. Wide open! So their defense, it was Swiss cheese at that point anyway.
But you're worried about Jokic. You don't get that open without Jokic on the floor.
Well,
who does it? Like, it's just...
I don't think it's a mistake. I know there are people out there today that think it's a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake. And I think you dance with the one that brought you. You dance with the strategy.
Okay, let me tell you this.
We are way past the break point, but let's just do it.
So let's go back, 15 years now? Let's go to a Cleveland Lions game.
Okay.
Stafford comes out of the game because he separated his shoulder.
Yes.
Do you remember this in his rookie year?
Yes.
And the Browns call a timeout that allows him to come back on the field, and they lose that game.
Yes.
That's what this is. And I know what you're going to say. What if they handed it off? It doesn't matter. You allowed the best player in the world back on the court.
Sure, fine. I will grant you that by fouling, you allow the best player on the court to get back into the game. That's fine. If Chet makes the 2 free throws, we're not having this conversation today. We're not talking about it. We're not breaking down their decision to foul up 3 as much as we are. All because he missed those 2 free throws. He can't miss those 2 free throws.
But by fouling, you also put the pressure on him.
You do, but that's the way you've played all season. You
put yourself back on your own heels.
And if that's the way I go down, playing the way that I've been playing all season, then that's fine. So be it. When we come back, it is the first thing that he will do in his new role. But is it the most important thing? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KDUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Ghost World Tour 2025. Ghost Theatrical Heavy Metal Arena Rock. August 11th, Footprint Center. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Ghost.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Meet Barkley. When Barkley smells gas, he leaves fast. When Barkley hears hissing coming from a gas appliance, he leaves fast. When Barkley sees dirt or water shooting from the ground, he leaves fast. Barkley then calls 911 and Southwest Gas from a safe location.
Did that dog just grab a phone and dial 911?
Gas lines can be buried anywhere, so remember to call 911 and Southwest Gas.
Summer's almost here, and that means swimsuits, pool parties, and walks on the beach. For the confidence to look your very best, come to Red Mountain Weight Loss. At Red Mountain, our expert doctors will help maximize your results from brand name medications like Wegovy and Zepbound. Another option is our signature medication, RM3. RM3 helps you lose up to 20 pounds a month while melting inches from your belly, hips, and thighs. This patented medication is available only by prescription, and you can only get it at Red Mountain Weight Loss. For over 30 years, Red Mountain has been the trusted leader in medical weight loss. Our doctors deliver safe, effective solutions tailored to your needs. Red Mountain has helped over 1 million patients lose weight safely, and they can help you too. Lose weight and look great just in time for summer at Red Mountain Weight Loss. Go to redmountainweightloss.com. That's redmountainweightloss.com. Red Mountain Weight Loss. Real doctors, real results.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KTUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
It will be the first thing that he does in his new role as the general manager of the Phoenix Suns. Brian Gregory, who's going to get introduced a little bit later on today. 3:30, he'll have his introductory press conference to meet with the media. We'll react to that on tomorrow's program. So after he gets done with that press conference, and I'm sure the work is already underway for Brian Gregory, he will be looking to get a brand new head coach into the building. It's been a theme for the Phoenix Suns over the last couple of years. New head coaches entering the building. This will be their fourth coach in 4 seasons, but you knew that already. Probably because I say it all the time. 4 coaches in 4 years. So Brian Gregory's primary focus right now is going to be getting that new head coach. And it is because of this being their 4th coach in 4 years that they have to get this one right. They have to get this one right because this person is going to get the runway that the other guys didn't, at least under Matt Ishbia. Monty didn't get a long runway here. We know the short runways for Vogel and for Budenholzer. This next hire, this next head coach, I think, and we said this about Coach Bud, so we'll see if this bears fruit. But my expectation is that this coach, partly because they're changing their expectations, this coach is going to be given what the other coaches weren't, and that is time. This coach is going to be given 3-4 seasons. You would hope, you would expect that whoever they bring in is going to be given the necessary time to set that new culture. This roster is going to have a lot of turnover, not just this year, but in the coming years. And so with players leaving, new players coming in, you have to set the new culture. Then you have to get the current players that stick around to buy into that culture. You need the players that you bring in this year, that you bring in next year, that you draft. You need all of these players to come in here and buy into that culture. So this is going to take time. And it is my hope, it is my expectation that the new coach is going to be granted that runway, going to be granted that time to put those gears into motion, right? Jonathan Gannon had to do this. He came in, he had to set a new culture. We all knew that wasn't going to happen in 1 year. Now, I don't know if I don't know between the Suns and the Cardinals which situation I would say was worse. I think there's more talent. I don't think the Cardinals had a Devin Booker type player when Jonathan Gannon took over. So it took JG some time to put this roster together. Well, Brian Gregory has to get this coach right because this coach is going to get what the other coaches didn't. This coach is going to get time. This coach is going to get the opportunity to build that culture. And if you pick wrong here, if you make a mistake in who you hire, that means your culture is not going to be set right. It means that the players that you identify for that culture are going to be the wrong fit. So one could argue, one could make the case that this is more important than the players you actually bring in, that this might be more important than the Kevin Durant trade. I still think the KD trade is the most important thing this franchise is going to do this offseason. I don't think there's going to be anything that is more important and more impactful than that. But who they hire as a head coach is going to be a close second. It's going to be a 1A. Because if you get this right, that means you're going to be able to identify the right players to fit that culture. That the players you bring in are going to have the buy-in to that culture because you have the right messenger. If you don't have the right messenger, then the message, it's going to fall on deaf ears, even if you bring in people who fit that message. The messenger here matters. You have to get this right because there cannot be 5 coaches in 5 years. This coach is going to be given the time to put this culture into place. And so if you do get this wrong, it's not just going to be a 1-year problem. You're going to probably sink 3 years, at least, bare minimum, into this coach, into this new culture. And if it is a mistake, if you hire the wrong guy now, 3 years down the road, you know who's going to be into his 30s at that point? Devin Booker. His prime. If you're still hanging on to the hope that you can win a championship with him, and I think this organization still thinks they can win a title with Devin Booker. Maybe not next year, maybe not the year after that, but it is still in their long-term plans to win a title with Devin Booker. If that's true, then you have to get this coaching hire right. We'll talk in hour number 2 of the program about what we want to hear from Brian Gregory, but it branches off a lot with this coaching search and what they plan to do moving forward. When we come back, Zach Gallen is on the mound tonight, and it is time for the strength of this baseball team to start acting like it. It's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Join in on the Sports Zoo on your ride home from work with Dave Rooster Bierstein. Join Rooster as he lays down what's happening around sports and makes it clear what's on his mind. Oh my. Catch the day's craziest stories and some of the latest numbers from the sports books across the valley. The Sports Zoo with Dave Rooster Bierstein.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a wild option.
Weekdays 5 to 6 p.m. on KDUS AM 1060 and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Nitro Circus is back with the all-new Off the Rails Tour. World-class daredevils and FMX, BMX, skate, scooter, and more. Jaw-dropping stunts, high-flying tricks, and never-been-done showdowns. Friday, December 5th, Desert Diamond Arena. Visit Ticketmaster.com.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like unloading the grocery bags from your car and you decide you can get all the bags in one trip.
I can do it.
So you load up all 14 grocery bags on both arms. Sure, you can't feel your fingers and forgot to take your house keys out.
Almost there.
But you never put down one bag and you made it inside all in one trip like the bag-carrying boss you are.
Yes.
Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
Stars are shining down on Goldberg and Osborne. The Eagle has more than 2,200 5-star Google reviews from across Arizona. Like these.
They go that extra mile to let you know they care. A wonderful experience.
They treat their clients like family, and their professionalism is the best in the business.
They made sure I got a great offer. Like a bulldog, they fought for me.
Well said, everyone. After any accident, remember, the bird is the word. Visit Goldberg and Osborne at 1-800-THEEAGLE.com.
Are you tired of seeing rust stains in your sinks? Call Culligan.
or scrubbing hard water scale buildup from your fixtures? Call Culligan. We can customize whole home solutions to address common water worries found in Phoenix. And now, for a limited time, you can get better water at every tap in your home for $0 down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. Problem water is no problem for Culligan. Contact your local water expert today. Contaminants may not be in your water. Dealer participation may vary. See dealer for details.
Save on quality treats and eats during our Mother's Day event at Whole Foods Market. Discover only the best for mom with deals on flowers, candles, brunch favorites, decadent desserts, and more through May 11th. Shop in-store or online today.
Join ASU Baseball right here on KDUS AM 1060. Starting this Friday, the next opponent in the Sun Devils' sights is the University of Houston. As the end of the regular season approaches, ASU knows that every win counts, and they look to give it their all against the Cougars. The voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, will have the call live. It's ASU versus the University of Houston this Friday. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
It was supposed to be the strength of this team at the beginning of the year. If there was one thing you would point to on the Arizona Diamondbacks that was a strength, that was a positive, that was going to lead them through any tough times, you would point to the starting pitching. You would point to the addition, the shock out of nowhere, surprising the baseball world, getting Corbin Burnes, having Zach Gallen, not trading him in the offseason. I'll throw my hand up. I was wrong. I said all offseason long that I thought that team was going to trade Zach Gallen and get ahead of him hitting free agency. They didn't. They doubled down on the idea of pitching. So Burnes and Gallen at the front, the forgotten man, Merrill Kelly, who is the number 3, but probably could be team's number 2 across baseball. And then you had Brendan Pfaadt, a young starter who you believe has a really high ceiling. And then your veteran, innings eater, guy who just goes out there, gives you 5 or 6 innings, and it may not be pretty at times, but gives you a chance to win, Eduardo Rodriguez. Those 5 guys were supposed to be the strength of this baseball team. They were supposed to be the group that made sure there wasn't an extended losing streak. Why? Because we have great starting pitching. We have starting pitching that before the season, many thought was on pace or on par or on the level, if not better than, the Los Angeles Dodgers starting pitching. And that team was the talk of the entire off season. In sports, name the sport: hockey, baseball, basketball, football, doesn't matter. Name the sport, name the team. There's always a rough patch. There's always a time period where things just aren't going your way. You're not getting the breaks. The results aren't what you want them to be. Now, you have games like last night where some of it's self-inflicted, but either way, you're going through a rough patch. When those tough times hit you as a franchise, when they hit you as a team, what do? You lean on your strengths. You lean on the superstars on your team. You lean on the group that you know has the talent level to get you out of your sticky situation. That group for this team, this baseball team, that group is the starting rotation. I know Corbin Burnes didn't start last night, but the expectation is he's only going to miss 1 start. It is time for this rotation to start acting like the group we thought that they could be. They need to start acting like the strength. The bullpen is struggling right now. I got my soundboard back. We spin the wheel every night, and it lands on a different reliever. It lands on somebody doing something that, in part, leads to the Diamondbacks losing a baseball game. The bullpen does not have their 2 best relievers. The bullpen has guys not in their design roles. Nobody had on their 2025 Diamondbacks bingo card Shelby Miller closer. You didn't have it. You have a bullpen that is just a walking amusement park. It is a roller coaster ride every single night. We know that. We know it's going to be an adventure. It was an adventure again last night. How do you make sure it's less of an adventure? How do you make sure it's less volatile? You get the quality starting pitching. The strength of this baseball team starts to act like the strength of this baseball team. You get vintage Corbin Burnes when he comes back. Today, Zach Gallen is on the mound. He pitches more like he has against the two New York teams when he played the Mets last week and that second start of the year against the Yankees. That version of Zach Gallen needs to be there on the regular. Merrill Kelly, they have to figure out this cramping issue because it's the only thing that's stopping him from giving this team length. And length right now is the secret sauce this team needs. If Burnes, if Gallen, if Kelly, if Fott can give you 6 innings, and if 2 of those guys can take the ball into the 7th, do you understand the relief that you are going to give to the manager of this baseball team? Do you understand that with the limited options he has, you're going to make it easier for him to deploy the arms that he has? This rotation was supposed to be the backbone of a team that could keep pace with the Dodgers, that could keep pace with the rest of the National League. And right now, it is not acting like that strength. It needs to. And it needs to sooner rather than later. And so on a day like today, when Zach Gallen, one of those guys, Cy Young candidate, right? Before the season, you look at Gallen and you look at Burnes and you say, I've got 2 Cy Young candidates. Those 2 guys have to step up. The whole rotation has to step up. It is time for the strength of this baseball team to act like the strength of this baseball team, or else what we are watching right now is going to continue. They're going to hover around 500. They're going to hope to still be in the mix when they get their big high leverage reliever arms back. But who knows where the Dodgers are going to be at that point? Who knows where the Giants, the Padres, who knows where the rest of the National League is going to be? You can only tread water for so long. We talked about survival mode. Yes, it is still survival mode for this team. But we're going to reach a point where we don't trust these guys anymore. We're going to reach a point where Eduardo Rodriguez's name comes up as the probable starter and we get scared. We're nervous. Same thing with Gallen. Same thing with Burnes. Same thing with Kelly. Same thing with Brendan Pfaadt, who had been old reliable, even though he's the youngest guy in the rotation. He had been the trustworthy guy so far this season. This is supposed to be the thing that stops this team from struggling, that stops this team from losing 4 of 5 or losing 7 of 8 and going on a run, a bad run that takes them out of play. I have not seen that dominant stretch yet from this group. They had that small little patch where they flirted with 4 or 5 quality starts in a row. That was great. This rotation with this talent, that's the floor. That's the floor for this group. The ceiling is you've got 2 Cy Young candidates. You have 2 guys in Kelly and Brendan Pfaadt who would be 2s and 3s on almost any other rotation in baseball. I'm sorry, the expectation, the floor is set really high for this team. And to this point, they have not met that expectation. And it's no surprise when you have a bullpen that's all out of whack, when you have a rotation that's all over the place, that you look up in the standings and you see a team that's hovering around 500. So Zach Gallen on the mound today, he can be the guy that starts it. Start acting like the strength of this team, because it is. This is stronger than the offense. It's stronger than the bullpen. Health or no health, the starting rotation and the talent is what is going to lead this team, if they're going to get there, to the playoffs. Hour number 1 of the program in the books. When we come back, hour number 2, there are 7 rookies that will be joining the squad. How many of them can have a serious impact in year 1? That's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same Game Parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Arizona. T&Cs apply.
Lincoln Park. From Zero World Tour 2025.
You ready?
Live in Phoenix. Footprint Center, Saturday, September 6th, with special guest Gene Dawson. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit lincolnpark.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a loaded cash explosion. It happens every time someone wins loaded cash explosion scratchers from the Arizona Lottery. Oh, it's happening again. Since tickets are loaded with $1,000 prizes with explosive top prizes of $2.5 million. Plus, a second chance to win $1 million in the Players Club. Head to an Arizona Lottery retailer and play loaded cash explosion scratchers today.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
When it comes to your electric bill, saving energy means saving money. That's why SRP offers many ways to help you cut costs and boost comfort. From rebates and discounts that can save you thousands of dollars, to expert insights that can help make your home more energy efficient. SRP has tools and programs that give you many ways to save. Explore your options today at srp.net/savings. That's srp.net/savings.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale Phoenix.
Hour number 2, the 12 o'clock hour of the program. Appreciate you joining us here today on the lunch break, however you may be listening. Phone number, if you want to join us, 480-864-1060. I'll say it again. I said it in hour number 1 of the program. Take Friday, coming this Friday. So get ready. Get your best, spiciest take ready to go for Friday's program, because we are going to give out a $50 gift card to Von Hansen's to whoever provides on Friday the best take. Doesn't have to be the spiciest take. Has to be the best, most well thought out take. You have to present it on the air. You have to be willing to get cross-examined by me and producer Evan. You have to be able to bring the take to the table, defend said take, and you need to be entertaining. Now, don't be too performative. You need to believe in the take. But if you want to be a part of that, that's the phone number for you any day of the week, but especially on Friday. The Cardinals will have 7 rookies in rookie minicamp coming up here, May 9th. And a question we batted around this morning in the morning meeting. With those 7 rookies, how many of them are going to be able to have a serious impact in year 1? I was reading a roundtable this morning on ESPN of who will have the most impactful rookie class. A lot of love for the Patriots and what they were able to do. Obviously, love for the Titans. You take Cam Ward, number 1 overall. You have a starting quarterback. That's a way to be very impactful. But it got me thinking, all right, how impactful can this rookie class be for the Cardinals? Which of these players has a tailor-made, ready-to-go role for year 1? And how many others are depth, or they're going to have to work their way up the board because there's some well-established veterans in front of them? So I thought it would be a fun little exercise to talk about these 7 rookies and how many of them can have a serious impact in year 1. So let's start with the guy who they took 16th overall, Walter Nolan. Now, serious impact can mean something different to two different people because Walter Nolan, let's face it, is going to be a part of a rotation. He's not going to play every single snap. This team drafted a defensive lineman last year in Darius Robinson. They, this offseason, proceeded to sign Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson. And so they've added Walter Nolan to this group. So this group, more so than last year, more so than the last couple of years, is deeper. But I expect, especially with two veterans, one guy who is not just on the back nine of his career, but he's probably playing 18. Maybe he's hitting his second shot on 17 in Calais Campbell. Can't imagine there's much left in the tank beyond just this one season. So Walter Nolan feels locked in to being a part of this rotation and seeing a heavy role. You have Darius Robinson in year 2. You have the two veterans, but you also have Walter Nolan. He's going to be out there quite a bit, and so he's going to have a way to make an immediate impact. So check, put him on the list. Will Johnson, as long as everything is okay with the knee, I expect him to be one of the starting corners for this team. This was a guy that was a top 10 prospect, no matter where you looked, no matter whose big board, individual or company you looked. Will Johnson was a top 10 player. He was looked at by many as the best pure corner in the class. Again, just excluding Travis Hunter because of the wide receiver corner debate. The best pure corner in the class, Will Johnson's name, was at or near the top of the list. They got that guy at 47 because of injury concerns. So if the hamstring that he had during his pro day is okay, if the knee injury that everybody is concerned about is okay, you're looking at a guy that teams could have drafted in the first round. Nobody would have batted an eye, and everybody would have talked about Will Johnson as a day one impact starter that a team got in the first round. Instead, because of those injury concerns, he fell. The Cardinals got him at 47. Then you look at the rest of this class, the other 5 players. I see 2 potential starters and 3 players that are going to have a difficult time cracking the starting lineup. I look at Jordan Birch, the edge out of Oregon, and I just see the position that he plays, and my immediate reaction is you're going to be a part of the rotation. You're going to get opportunity. Is it going to be as much opportunity as Josh Sweat? Of course not. But for a group that still needs some extra legs, we've talked about this team drafting and developing their own next superstar. Could that be Jordan Birch? Could that be a guy that develops into a above average pass rusher? He could. But I do know this, for a group that added Sweat in the offseason, they still need more. So he's going to slide right in and get those opportunities, get his chances. So he is going to be able to have an impact. And then Cody Simon, the Ohio State linebacker, a position where there was some roster turnover for the Cardinals this offseason, let some guys go, brought in one guy via free agency, still kind of having a makeover in that room. So there's a pathway, an avenue for Cody Simon to in year one play and potentially play a significant role. Those are the 4 guys. And it's not a surprise to me that the 4 guys are all defenders. It's not a surprise that half of those guys are positions like D tackle and edge, positions that we talked about as big areas of need when the offseason started, when draft season got underway. So I'm not surprised that we look at a team that drafted a D tackle and an edge, and we said, you know what? Both of those guys have a very easy pathway to making it on this roster and starting in year 1 and being at least part of a rotation. And then the other 2, corner and linebacker, because you stole Will Johnson, stole him at 47. Can't believe he got down that far. And Cody Simon, because it is a position linebacker that you've done some overhaul with. Anything that I missed, producer Evan? Anything that you disagree with? Those are the 4 names of the 7 that you would agree with. I look at Denzel Burke as a corner, developmental corner. I look at Hayden Connor, guard. You immediately put him in the depth category with those guards. And then I look at Crawford, the safety out of Nevada, and say, you're another depth piece. Those 3, I don't see an immediate pathway unless there's injury for them to play. would be significant. Couple of injuries probably. Those first 4, I can easily see playing an immediate impact role in year 1 for this team.
I could see Connor getting on the field, given injury, or if you want to run a heavy package. Just a guy who's played a lot of football and kind of has experience in a pretty heavy run game. I know Texas gets all the credit with Quinn and everything like that, but they ran the ball quite a bit, and they like to move him around. So, listen, I don't see it as an impossible chance that he gets on the field, but the one that you talked about and that I think is really going to be kind of impactful as a day 3 pick is Cody Simon, and we touched on that. So, like I said, I don't see 5, 6, 7, as in Burke, Connor, and Crawford getting in the draft here, or getting in the game here. But
you don't envision those 3 guys again, unless something serious happens injury wise. You see those guys as more depth, more projects, potentially could maybe make an impact on special teams, perhaps, but not really guys that you're going to say, that's my starting corner. That's my starting right guard. That's my starting safety. You're not going to say that about any of those 3 guys. I can say Walter Nolan is one of my starting defensive tackles. I can say Will Johnson is one of my starting corners. I think we're going to get to a place where we're talking about Jordan Birch as one member of this pass rush. Again, if he hits his potential, if they get the most out of him. And the reason why the first 4 picks, defenders, we think that those guys can make an immediate impact is look at who their coach is. JG's always going to maximize the talent on the defensive side. If there's talent, if there's potential to tap into, JG is going to push those buttons. And so for a team that needs edge rushers, I can see the path. It's all about seeing a way where we get to week 4, week 5 of the regular season, and these guys are playing significant roles and not being surprised that they got into that spot. I think Walter Nolan and Will Johnson are starting on day 1. Week 1 of the regular season, both of those guys are out there. Maybe Walter Nolan isn't on the first snap of the game, but that's not how defensive linemen work anymore. You don't play every single snap of every single game. You're part of a rotation. Do I think Walter Nolan is going to be one of the featured guys along that defensive line? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Just like I think Will Johnson is going to be one of the featured corners for this team because the Cardinals stole him at 47. So with rookie minicamp right around the corner, thought it would be interesting because you know what I did not see in looking at this story this morning? I did not see a single person mention the Cardinals and their class. Now, I wasn't expecting it, but it is what made me think, okay, let's look at the Cardinals class. Let's see how many guys they have that can be impactful. Now, you want to look long-term? You want to talk a couple years down the road? The place you really want to get to is a team like the Baltimore Ravens, who made, and this is, I apologize, I'm going to have to do math on the air. I'm going to have to count to make sure I get this correctly. They have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 picks. They made 11 picks. Does anybody think all 11 of those players are going to make the Baltimore Ravens roster? With the way their roster is set up, with how good they are as a football team, do you think all 11 are going to make that roster? Or do you think some of them might get cut? Conventional wisdom tells me all 11 of those guys are not making the roster. That's the place you want to be as a franchise. You want to be at the place where we evaluate a draft class and we go, man, I don't know if that guy, if that day 3 pick is going to be able to make this team. Going to have to really ball out in training camp because they have X, Y, and Z. That's when you know you've built out a healthy, deep roster. Cardinals aren't there yet. Certainly well on their way to getting there. Do not get me wrong, but just not on that pathway yet. Probably another offseason or 2 away. Another draft class or 2. You develop some of these guys that you drafted this year. You get those guys into those roles of being the high quality depth. You start to look like the Baltimore Ravens. You start to look like the Kansas City Chiefs. You start to look like producer Evans' Philadelphia Eagles, where you make all these draft picks and you go, I don't know if all these guys are going to make the roster. Right now, Cardinals are still in a position where we've got holes to fill. We're going to fill it with young players. We're going to hopefully develop those players to a place where we have a well-rounded, deep roster, a team that is certainly well on its way. And they have 4 guys this season in this class that I think we could be watching play serious roles for this team on Sunday. Everybody talks about the first 2 guys. Walter Nolan, Will Johnson. Easy to talk about those 2 guys. But there are 2 others that I think can make a serious impact and be on the field, again, at positions of need for this team. The phone number, 480-864-1060. If you want to join us here today on the program, we've also got you over on the KDUS AM 1060 YouTube live stream. When we come back, today, he will be introduced for the first time as the new Suns general manager. What do we need to hear from Brian Gregory? That's next on the lunch break, KDUS AM 1060.
Hey listeners, Vince DeLisio from the Varsity Sports Show. This week is our annual show in honor of all moms out there. Tune in as our team introduces you to their moms. And we also bid farewell to this semester's talented group of interns. It's the Varsity Sports Show Mother's Day Special, Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. on AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona.
Arizona children enter the foster system every day. If you're a parent, a coach, a teacher, or just someone who cares about young people, then you may be in a position to help. Become a foster parent not only creates a positive ripple effect in a child's life, it can improve our entire community. That's the foster effect. To learn more, go to azdcs.gov/foster effect. That's azdcs.gov/foster effect. This message is brought to you by the Arizona Department of Child Safety.
9 Inch Nails. Live at Footprint Center, September 16th. Get tickets now at NIN.com. 9 Inch Nails, live in Phoenix. Peel It Back World Tour 2025.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. The NBA has changed. We all know that. The mid-range jumper, basically extinct. Two-point shots have taken a back seat to the analytics. And it's not breaking news, but if you caught game one between the Celtics and Knicks, you saw just how far this philosophy can go off the rails. Boston shot 63 pointers. They missed 45 of the 60. After building a 20-point lead, they watched the Knicks come back and steal a crucial win on the road. Yes, when you're hot from deep, it is devastating for the opponent. But when you're not, it's devastating for you. Nothing wrong with trusting the numbers. Shooting threes at a league average clip is still good basketball. But when they stop falling, at some point, you got to pivot. Analytics have changed the game forever, and mostly for the better. But when you watch a team go 15 for 60 from three-point range in a playoff loss, I think it's fair to ask, has the league become a little too stubborn from behind the three-point line? I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. You ever go car shopping and just walk back to your old car and say, you know what? You're not so bad. Maybe a new paint job, maybe fix up those dents and dings. New car prices are going crazy now. Interest rates, prices, everything is up. Mako can make your current ride look like new. Paint touch-ups, dent repairs, fresh bumper. It's a little like a car makeover is what it is. And right now, they got the spring specials going. Perfect time to get in. You get that free estimate. Quick turnaround, by the way. Real value. That's what Mako does. And we're keeping our cars longer. So make your current ride feel new again. Before you shell out for something new, make your old look new. Go to Mako.com today. You'll find a shop near you and book an appointment. You're going to get a free estimate. You're going to love the community-based feel you get with Mako. That's Mako, MAACO.com. And remember, better get Mako.
The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio is your hub for everything high school and college sports. Join Vince and friends as they give you the full picture on student athletes and where they're heading. Live interviews with coaches across the valley.
Asking some of the tough questions.
Varsity recaps and in-depth interviews with tomorrow's sports stars. The Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio. Live every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
$3:30 this afternoon, the introductory press conference for the new general manager of the Phoenix Suns. Our first chance to hear from Brian Gregory since getting the job as Suns GM, and potentially our first chance to change our opinion on things. It's overwhelming, the tepid nature of our opinions of this hire. I shouldn't say that. Our opinions on the hire are strong. I just think a lot of us look at Brian Gregory in this role and go, he's not going to do a good job. We don't think this is the right hire. We're very, very against this hire. Most people. So far, I haven't heard a single person that has jumped up on the table. I'm going to make an obscure reference here. So just everybody prepare yourself. I know for a fact producer Evan is not going to get this reference. So I'm looking.
Lack of confidence.
I'm looking for Michael on this one. I'm looking for John on this one. You know what? I may need Paul on this one. I don't even know if they're going to get it. Nobody is jumping on the table like Tom Cruise was jumping on the couch when he was on Oprah. See, I knew you weren't going to get it. The look in your eye when I shared that. You don't remember this?
No.
So he went on Oprah, and he was just acting like a crazy person. He got up on the sofa and was just jumping up and down. And it's a meme at this point. I'm going to need somebody in the 480-864-1060. Call producer Evan and tell him that I'm correct. I'll look to the YouTube chat. Nobody is jumping up and down the way Tom Cruise was for this hire of Brian Gregory. Now, why that was the analogy that popped into my head, I don't know. But when I said jumping up and down on the table, that's what popped in my head. Nobody's doing that. So when Brian Gregory gets up there at the podium today and meets with the media and answers questions, what do we want to hear from him? Is there anything that we could hear from him that would change our opinion? Now, I think the short answer is no. The short answer is you got to show me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. This would be the ultimate fool me twice scenario for all of us. We watched Matt Ishbia get up there and say all of the right things at the end of the season. And then this was his first move. Hiring a guy with no experience. Promoting somebody from within instead of looking outside the building to create that big change, that major change that we were expected to get. We didn't get that. We got an internal promotion of a guy who the best thing on his resume from a front office executive perspective is he spent one season in a position that I still think was made up. The VP of player programming. So we bought what Matt Ishbia was telling us. Some of us did. I fell victim to it. After Ishbia met with the media, I said in real time, we reacted to it here on the show. I said, this is a great first start. These are all of the right things that you need to say. This is setting up for them to learn from their mistakes and do the right thing. Now they got to follow up on it. Well, guess what? The follow-up actions did not match those words. So you fooled me in that press conference. You are not going to fool me today. I will not be fooled by what Brian Gregory says or doesn't say in this press conference. I will make my opinion of whether or not this was a good hire or not based on who they hire as a head coach, based on what they get back in a potential Kevin Durant trade, who they draft, what players they bring in to fit this culture. That is how I am choosing to operate. The rest of it is all noise. It's all just a word salad. We'll react to it. Depending on how the Diamondbacks game goes tonight, and depending on exactly what he says, there's a decent chance it could be the daily special tomorrow. There's a chance it could be our top story. Could be. We'll break it down. But I'm not going to believe in anything I hear today. Because remember, I said, you don't have to win the press conference anymore. You don't have to win the press conference with your new head coach. You don't have to win the press conference with your GM hire. I'll give you that, because this certainly doesn't win the press conference. But you don't need to do that. You just need to have the actions that we can believe in. Because I can think internally promoting somebody is a bad idea. I can think promoting somebody into the GM chair who has never had a lick of experience in this role is a bad idea. I can think handing the keys to somebody with all of the things that this organization needs to accomplish this offseason to somebody who has never done it before is a bad idea. I can think all of those things right now are true. I can think all of those things are a bad idea and have my opinion be changed. You want to change my opinion? It is not going to be with the words that are said today. Because I can kind of tell you what the words are. If producer Evan pretended to be a member of the media and asked me, pretending to be Brian Gregory, what I'm looking for in the next head coach, he's going to say gritty. He's going to say tough. He's going to say leader. He's going to say culture setter. He's going to say defense.
I think you wrapped it up there.
We can create the bingo card of the words that are going to be used. It's going to be the same words that Matt Ishbia used 2 weeks ago that then led to that gritty change being a promotion of a guy who was in the building when the house of cards came crumbling down. So apologies if I don't get all sort of geared up for a press conference when I'm not in the business of words anymore. I mean, personally, I'm in the business of words because I talk for a living. I'm not in the business of believing your words. I want to see it. You hire the right head coach. You land somebody that I think is a home run from a culture perspective. You grab somebody that's from a winning organization that has some really nice experience, maybe not as a head coach, but as an assistant, working in player development, comes from a defensive background, where maybe is an ex-player, all the boxes that we outlined potentially for this job. If you do all of that, I'm going to support the hire. I will support Brian Gregory. Here is what Brian Gregory has to do, though. I'll support him if he gives me a reason to support him. And right now, while not his fault, Matt Ishbia has given zero reason for me to trust, to believe in Brian Gregory. But I want to. I want to believe that this is the guy that is going to turn things around, because it is much better than the alternative. The alternative is a dark, long pathway back to relevancy. John would like to throw in the word teacher on our bingo card. Can we write these down, producer Evan? Can you throw these on the document?
I got you.
So let's do this real quick. Do we want to make like a Family Feud style board of 10? Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll make a big
Good answer.
We'll make a big board of 10 words that we think Brian Gregory is going to say at some point during this press conference. Number one answer, culture, we would like to put on the list.
Culture.
I would like to put, we'll throw John's word on there. Teacher. We'll put teacher on there. Grit and or gritty, we'll put as number 3. Intensity, maybe number 4.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to make sure we cover all the words that we already said. So defense, do we have defense on there?
Did you not?
So put defense on there at number 5. Oh, Michael would like to put, he would like to put a phrase. Big changes.
Big changes. That's a good one. That's a good one.
So put that on the list. What else do we think he could say during this press conference that we would want to put on our bingo card? Because what I don't want to do is put something on here and he doesn't say it. I want to go 10 for 10. Read me what we have so far. I have the memory
culture,
of a goldfish.
we have teacher, we have gritty, intense, defense.
Preparation.
Big changes.
Put preparation on there. Preparation. Put leadership on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Put actions, not words. I like that. That's being a little specific, but I have some confidence in that.
I'm going to put Michigan State.
Oh, I love what you've done there. Yeah, that's like the free space.
Yeah.
That's like the free space. And no, I'm not going to put like Matt Ishbia on there because that's cheating. How many do we have now?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, including Michigan State.
10, including Michigan State. So maybe we swap out something for Michigan State because that feels like a cheap one. That feels like a freebie. Now, one freebie's okay.
You want me to put Steelers?
No. I don't. I think that's also. We'll go with that 10, and maybe in the leftovers we'll make sure. Oh, John, nope. Take Michigan State off. Put motivation. Put motivation on there from John. Put that on there. So those are the 10 words that we think at some point will be uttered from Brian Gregory in his introductory press conference. So we'll see how well we do tomorrow. We'll see if we go 10 for 10.
Love it. This is a good list. I think we're gonna at least go 8 for 10.
Yeah, we have some.
Big changes is specific. Do we count changes if he just says changes instead of big change?
Let's hear the context.
Okay.
We'll see how he says it, and then we'll determine. We'll determine on the air tomorrow whether or not we went 10 for 10. When we come back, he is the guy that everybody is trying to run out of Houston. But how good of a fit is he for the Phoenix Suns? It's next on the lunch break. KDUS AM 1060.
James Out West, your home for sports down here in the desert. Join James and Pat the Stat Guy as they recap the weekend and dive deep into the numbers for the NFL, NBA, college sports, and more.
That's 5 seasons of 1,200 yards.
Player stats, team numbers, and contracts are just the start of the discussion for James and Pat.
He started 815 career games. He threw 749 complete games.
There's no hiding when it comes to stats. It's James Out West every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. right here on KTUS AM 1060 and on the KTUS 1060 app.
Arizona's future depends on a skilled workforce, and that's why students don't just learn at Pima JTED, they do. From healthcare to technology and construction to design, the JTED classroom model gets high school students ready for college, a career, or both, teaching them the skills Arizona employers need right now. Discover how Pima JTED students can support your business. Learn more at PimaJTED.org. That's PimaJTED.org. This message is sponsored by Potoff Private Philanthropy.
Hosier presents the Unreal Unearthed Tour 2025, live in Phoenix. Talking Stick Resort Amphitheater, October 7th. With special guest, Amble. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The #1 album, Unreal Unearthed, is available everywhere. For more, visit hosier.com.
When it comes to your electric bill, saving energy means saving money. That's why SRP offers many ways to help you cut costs and boost comfort. From rebates and discounts that can save you thousands of dollars, to expert insights that can help make your home more energy efficient. SRP has tools and programs that give you many ways to save. Explore your options today at srp.net/savings. That's srp.net/savings.
Looking to sell your home? Hi, I'm Andrew the Home Buyer, and I love making it easy to sell your house. I'll personally come and give you a cash offer the same day we meet, and I'll beat any other offer. It really is that easy to sell your home, and no need to clean or fix anything. I'll buy it in as-is condition. Call me, Andrew the Homebuyer, today to get your same-day cash offer. Visit andrewthehomebuyer.com.
Hello, this is Jan at Toyota.
Hi, Jan. Is now a good time to get a new Toyota for summer?
It is. We like to say your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer.
Yeah, I'm a pet sitter and business is way up as people enjoy their new Toyotas.
Your summer starts here.
Oh, that's the Walker's pet parrot, Mr. Knowles.
That's me.
They packed up their new Corolla and took a trip to a national park.
Well, through June 2nd, everyone can join in on the summer fun with a great selection of Camrys, 4Runners, and more.
Yeah, the Johnsons strapped a canoe onto their new Grand Highlander and went out to the lake.
Shh, quiet, Lou.
And Mark and Sarah loaded their gear into their Tundra and went scuba diving.
Oh, no, stop. Sebastian, Goldie is not dinner. Fish for dinner. No, stop. This is bad.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Good luck.
Your summer starts here.
That's right, Mr. Knowles. Summer starts here at your Toyota dealer with a new Toyota, but it all ends June 2nd. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details.
Toyota, let's go places.
Attention all clones. The Jim Rome Show is here for you every day here on KTUS AM 1060.
Lots to get done. Welcome to the program.
Listen in as Rome dives into the biggest sports headlines of the day. From final scores, player contracts and trades, team prospects, and even a spicy take or two. The Jim Rome Show, 1 to 4 p.m. every weekday here on KDUS AM 1060.
That's the trick.
Online at KDUS1060.com and on the KDUS 1060 app.
Hey, make sure you're listening on the KDUS AM 1060 app. If you're already doing so, make sure you're logged in and registered because you can listen for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Diamondbacks when they take on the Colorado Rockies on Saturday, May 17th at Chase Field. And while you're there, you can pick up the replica home jersey at the game on May 17th, and you can stick around afterwards for an awesome post-game fireworks show after the game against the Rockies. So listen for your chance to win, or you can get your tickets at dbacks.com/SGT. And again, you're only winning the 4 tickets to the game. If you want to pick up the replica home jersey at the game, make sure you get there early. That's my little disclaimer that I will add to that list. Boy, does it not feel like the Houston Rockets are going to be the talk of the NBA this summer. They are trending to be the most popular team to discuss in the NBA. I've seen the think pieces come out of nowhere after they got eliminated. What should they do? Who should they go after? I saw one in The Ringer. I think you pointed this one out to me. Are they really a superstar away? Everybody is interested in flying off the top rope, dropping their elbow, and weighing in on what the Houston Rockets should or should not do this summer.
In the last 2 days, The Ringer have written 2 separate articles of pieces the Rockets could move this offseason for a superstar, and are they really a superstar away? And I have like 4 articles, interesting articles about a possible KD trade in our like little sheet here that we use for the show. All of them have been written about the Houston Rockets.
On top of that, there's reporting from Jake Fisher over with Mark Stein and his Substack talking about how the interest in a Kevin Durant trade continues to be overblown from the Houston side of things, that people are overstating Houston's interest. And you have Stephen A. Smith going on ESPN yesterday after they got eliminated, telling Jalen Green to pack his bags, sending him to Phoenix for Kevin Durant. This is a story, that being the Houston Rockets and their future, that just isn't going to go away. When you are a 2 seed and you're a young basketball team, your future is still bright, but you're the 2 seed. You're the 2 seed that won a lot of basketball games. You won more basketball games than anybody in the Western Conference other than the 1-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder. You did an excellent job. You got bounced in the first round by a 7 seed. You got bounced in the first round by a team that is on its last run as an organization. You also, in Game 7 on your home floor, only scored 89 points. So I am not surprised that this is the reaction that people are having. I'm not surprised that everybody wants to weigh in on this, because it's not every day that a young team that is the 2 seed in their respective conference gets knocked out the way Houston did. A Game 7 loss at home and completely no-showing that Game 7 on your home floor. You work so hard for that Game 7, and then you no-show it and only score 89 points. So I'm not surprised that the think pieces come out and say, you know what they were missing? You know what this team needed? They needed a Kevin Durant. They needed a Giannis. I'm also not surprised that there are people out there that go, wait a minute, it's just one postseason. Don't blow this up entirely. Don't trade away all of the assets that you have. Stay the course, and hopefully your team learns from this. I'm not surprised you have people on both ends of the spectrum. It's not a super unique, but it is a somewhat unique scenario for the 2 seed to get eliminated the way that they did. So that leads to the Jalen Green part of this. Because Stephen A. Smith wants Jalen Green to pack his bags, wants him to be sent to Phoenix for Kevin Durant. Jalen Green, one of the more popular names to get invoked in a potential KD trade. Would he be a good fit for the Phoenix Suns? Would he make sense for Phoenix? Now, I just watched a team have multiple guys that aren't traditional point guards, but still need the ball in their hands and need to share the ball, and it didn't work, right? Durant, Beal, Booker, it didn't work. It didn't work because guys got hurt. It didn't work because you had two guys in Booker and Beal that played the same position. Like it just wasn't a natural fit. What position does Jalen Green play? He's a shooting guard. That's the position he plays. He plays the same position as Devin Booker. And so it feels like you are slowly walking yourself into a very similar scenario with a younger player, a player who certainly is not going to cost $50 million like Bradley Beal will, but a player who plays the same position, and you put yourself in a very similar box. You have the similar constraints on your roster by getting Jalen Green. Is Jalen Green the same player that Bradley Beal was? No. Is Jalen Green the same player as Devin Booker? No. Green attacks the basket. He's not a mid-range jump shot type player that Book is, right? He can create his own shot, shoot some threes, works in the mid-range. Green kind of attacks. But you still have two guys that if you put them on the floor together, who's handling the basketball? And so if we're going to do this, if we're going to go through all of this, and we're going to trade Kevin Durant, and we're going to make a trade with Houston, and we're going to get some picks back, wouldn't you want more natural fits on this roster? Wouldn't you want players that make more sense for what you're trying to do rather than once again going square peg round hole? That's just me.
You're going to make the same mistakes you've made before.
To play devil's advocate for just a second, it's at least a younger player who plays differently than Booker. And so it may work out a little bit better. But it's not a clean change. It's not I'm getting somebody who replaces Kevin Durant. I'm not getting somebody who is a ball-handling point guard that can score. I'm not getting a big man back. Like those positions, there's a clean spot for them to just take over.
The things we talked about all year were this team failed because they didn't have a ball-handling point guard, because they couldn't protect the rim on defense. They gave up too many easy buckets. Does this move help you do any of those things?
I don't think so. On the surface, they don't. And so if that's going to be the centerpiece of what you get back, I worry that you're going to miss the mark a little bit. Again, centerpiece. If Jalen Green is a part of something and there's extra stuff involved, picks or players or whatever, then I can maybe get on board with it. But this idea of, Jalen Green, send him to Phoenix, he's going to be the centerpiece of a KD deal. Do we really want that? Now, beggars can't be choosers. If that's the only deal that the Suns can realistically make, you may have no choice but to make that trade to just move on from Kevin Durant and start the new chapter. So, again, we keep using this analogy of a poker hand. You can't overplay your hand. You can't underplay your hand. If the Suns don't have multiple suitors and Kevin Durant isn't interested in going to multiple teams, then don't overplay your hand if there's only one team that makes sense. If it's not Houston, let's say it's San Antonio. If KD only wants to go to San Antonio and San Antonio is the only team interested in dealing with Phoenix, you can't overplay your hand. You don't have a ton of leverage. But don't underplay it. If there are multiple teams involved, don't just immediately jump at the first offer. Create that bidding war.
We talked about it too. You need desperate teams, and we've talked about Houston, and we'll see how desperate they are. It's going to be quite the conversation. This is the most important trade, and I know we've said this. This is probably the most important trade in Phoenix Suns history.
The most important trade in Phoenix Suns history. I'm just thinking. I'm going through. Trading for KD the first time and acquiring him was pretty important. It was pretty impactful. But when I consider where things go if you get this wrong, or where things go if you take too long to make this trade, this does feel like it's going to be one of the more impactful moves this team is ever going to make in their franchise's history. They have to get, we talked in hour number 1 about getting the coaching thing right. They have to get this right. They have to. They have to. And I get it. It's not an easy situation. It may come to a point
it's almost impossible
where there's only one team interested. And so you're going to have to just accept potentially a bad haul back. I get it. But you have to get this right.
And if you get picks, it's so important that you hit on those and use them effectively.
Well,
even if you move him.
Good thing Brian Gregory was very instrumental in the Suns draft plans last year.
I was going to say he's a draft guy.
So you've got somebody in charge who his one claim to fame is the draft. So
well, Oso and Ryan Dunn. I mean, could you get enough of those guys all year?
I like those guys.
Same.
I like them as part of this future. But let's not pretend that they're superstars that the Suns drafted and developed and turned into.
They didn't find Tyrese Maxey at the end of the first round.
Thank you. They didn't draft Draymond Green in the second round.
No.
They're good players. I think ideally, if this team gets to where they want to get to, good bench players, part of a second unit, players that bring some intensity and some energy off the bench. They're motivated. I'm trying to hit as many of the words on the bingo card as I can.
I think you hit 3 right there.
They are leadership's really good.
Extremely good leaders.
They can be teachers for some of the young players that get brought on past them. I'm trying to remember as many of them as I can off of the press conference.
I think they
bingo.
build culture.
Well, you have the list in front of you. It's a little unfair that you can put. I don't have the list in front of me to be able to say the words. And I already said I have the memory of a goldfish.
And listen, they're going to stay through these big changes.
Again, it's much easier to do this bit when you have the words in front of you. You clearly, you're supposed to be better prepared, are way better prepared than me. I'm out here just trying to figure it out as we go.
Some would say
what if we just took a shot? I'm throwing darts over here. I have no idea where it's going to hit on the dartboard. I'm just throwing darts. One more for us here today on this edition of the Lunch Break. When we come back, the leftovers, all the stories that we didn't get to throughout the course of the show. Producer Evan has them for us. We'll do it next. The Lunch Break, KDUS AM 1060.
Ready to tackle each morning with the best sports information coming at you?
I'm going to take a logical approach.
Get that weekday mornings on KDUS AM 1060 from 6 to 9 a.m. with the Dan Patrick Show. Dan Patrick, the Danettes, sports icons, sports legends, celebrities, poll questions. The Dan Patrick Show has it all.
It's a crapshoot.
Be sure to lock your dials to AM 1060 or 100.7 HD2 from 6 to 9 a.m. Mornings just got better.
This story is about us.
An MLS showdown in the desert. Get ready for a night of top-tier soccer as Phoenix Rising hosts Major League Soccer's Houston Dynamo for the first time ever, Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. It's a round of 32 clash in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and tickets start at just $9. The first 2,000 fans from the gates will score a limited edition Phoenix Rising t-shirt, and the night features fan-favorite drink specials throughout the stadium. It's more than a match. It's a moment. Bring the noise. Bring your jersey. Bring a friend or 5. Get your tickets now at phxrisingfc.com.
Breaking Benjamin. Stay forever. And 3 Days Grace. Live. October 8th at Desert Diamond Arena with special guest Return to Dust. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Don't miss Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace, presented by the Big Red Radio.
As the old saying goes, size matters.
At Morgan & Morgan, we have over 1,000 lawyers and nearly 6,000 people on staff.
But at the core, this is and always has been a family business.
Our family watching out for your family.
Call us or email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on a Saturday or a Sunday. And if you ever have a problem, call our mom.
Morgan & Morgan.
For the people and your family. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Every day, savings, energy efficiency, rebates. Every day at APS, you have ways to save energy and money. We know how important it is to keep your bill as low as possible. That's why we offer programs to help you manage your energy use. Schedule a home energy checkup for savings recommendations tailored to your home. Find rebates on smart thermostats. Compare your rate plan options and switch to the plan that would have saved you the most money. Find ways to save at aps.com/brighter.
Join ASU Baseball right here on KDUS AM 1060. Starting this Friday, the next opponent in the Sun Devils' sights is the University of Houston. As the end of the regular season approaches, ASU knows that every win counts, and they look to give it their all against the Cougars. The voice of the Sun Devils, Tim Healy, will have the call live. It's ASU versus the University of Houston this Friday. Pregame at 6:15 p.m. and first pitch at 6:30 right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com/Sun Devils.
back to close up today here on the show. And this is where we hand the reins over to the producer. Evan takes over. He has all the stories that we didn't get to. I have no idea what's coming. I just react to it along with all of you. So, producer Evan, the floor is yours.
All right. So we got 3 different stories, 1 NFL, 2 MLB for you today.
You didn't sneak in the story about sovereignty not running at the Preakness?
I did not. No.
Disappointing.
Sorry.
Paul's disappointed in you.
But sovereignty not going to go for the Triple Crown. We'll be running in the Belmont, not the Preakness.
Sure. I don't know. I just saw it during the break.
Anyway, to the NFL.
Okay.
Okay, so Yahoo Sports wrote an article this morning. Top 10 stories to follow during NFL OTAs and minicamps. Our first story is the Aaron Rodgers decision.
Well, you know what? This is perfect. Very often we try to shoehorn drops in. I legitimately think this drop works absolutely perfectly for this.
Who cares?
Like, you couldn't have a drop work better than that.
And obviously you're a Rodgers hater.
I'm not a hater, but just
who cares?
I'm good. I've seen this story. I've seen this song and dance of do I want to play? Do I not want to play? I just don't care anymore. I don't care.
Pittsburgh's going to the playoffs with him at the helm. And that's going to be awesome.
If he signed with the Steelers, would they make the playoffs? Baltimore's really good. Cincinnati's going to have a better year. So they may be the 3rd best team in their division. So that's an uphill battle. Only one real good team. Well, Miami's not terrible, but 1.5 good teams in the AFC East. The South has 1 good team. It's Houston. I'm not buying Jacksonville until I see it. Indy's that's a mess on who's going to play quarterback.
Also one of the storylines.
Indy and who's going to play quarterback.
Yeah.
And then out west, you could have 3.
That's the conversation. It's the AFC West.
Yeah. Are the Broncos good enough? Are they going to take a leap? Is Bo Nix going to take a leap? Is that on the list?
You would hope so. No, it's not. There's a Cardinals story.
There's a Cardinal story on this. Oh, it's got to be Kyler Murray related.
It is not.
It's not. It's Marv related.
Marvin Harrison Jr. take 2. That's the headline here.
I've kind of carved out a little patch of grass for myself here. I don't think Marv's season last year was that bad. I think we, as a football society, watched what guys like Jalen Waddle did and what Justin Jefferson did and what Jamar Chase did in their first years and just expect every single wide receiver to walk in and put up those numbers in their rookie season.
I don't think it's as much about the numbers as some of the videos were a little jarring where it looked like he was dogging it and looks like he was taking snaps off, and some of that stuff has been more of a scare than just the numbers.
Does he need to be better?
If he was
Absolutely.
struggling with just an adjustment, okay. But I think there was more to that. And I think that's where the fear lies. So I also think part of it's coaching. Like, how many times did you see him cross the middle of the field? I felt like he ran more hitches and deep balls than anybody I've ever seen. Like, I don't know if he ran a post other than the one he scored a touchdown on all year long.
Well, in the early part of the season, the narrative was, why are they not getting him more targets? Why aren't they forcing the issue with him? And then they did, and he had a big game, and everyone's like, see, just do more of that. And then it became kind of a challenge to do that. He was still worth the number 4 overall pick. I still think the sky is the limit for this kid. Did he have a year subpar to, I think, the standards we all put on him when you consider his last name, where he was picked, that he was entering an offense as the wide receiver 1? There should have been no excuses. Yes, he missed that mark. Do I think he had a bad year where all of a sudden we need to worry about what he's going to be long term? No, I'm not willing to go there just yet. Talk to me halfway through the season. If we're midway through the season still talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. not showing up in a big way for this team, not having big performances that helps this team win football games, and the sample size grows, then we can have that talk.
I'm going to give you 2 more out of this list of 10. We'll start with your Jets. New look Jets this year with Justin Fields.
This is a top 10 storyline.
This is.
They're a middle of the road 500 football team, which is fine because that's what they are, and they're embracing that. They are unlike the last couple of years with Rodgers, when they thought they could be more, they know exactly what they are. New head coach, new GM, brand new quarterback. They know what their ceiling is. They know what the floor is. They're very aware of what they can be as a football team.
This next one is interesting, and I think this could set a precedent for the entire league, and that's the Brock Purdy extension or deal or whatever it looks like. I think the Niners end up paying him. It would be very interesting for the rest of the league if they don't, and what it would mean for football.
I would have a tough time paying him.
I would too. I would too. Just especially with the place they're at right now.
I mean, all of their other moves, everything else that they have done so far, points towards them wanting to sign him. So I expect them to. I mean, they changed out a bunch of their roster, traded guys, cut guys, all in service of we got to pay Kittle, we got to pay Brock Purdy. So I expect him to ultimately get paid. I don't know if I could put him towards the top end of the quarterback market for a guy who is a middle of the road quarterback in the NFL. And I think if you thought he was better than middle of the road, it had a lot to do with the infrastructure. It had a lot to do with that system. And while the system is still the same, I have questions about the rest of the pieces, the support around him. And then once you pay him, you better structure that contract correctly so that you can get out of it. So you're not committed long term.
That's the biggest thing is the availability to get out of it, what it's going to mean for the pieces around him. And listen, I don't want to take away from, one, how cool the Brock Purdy story is. Two, I think he's a good decision maker. And I think sometimes he does play really well off platform and can make different throws. And that's one part of his game that's underrated. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback? No, I do not.
And you can use, the numbers will be different, but the Daniel Jones contract as a nice comparison, they gave him a 4-year deal, but it was really a 2-year deal because after the second year, they could get out of it if they want. I don't know if you're going to get something that cleanly with Purdy. You're going to have to go more in years. You're going to have to go more in dollars. And so maybe it's not after year 2, but it's after year 3 that you can get out of it. And you give yourself that out, but you also give yourself a short-term window where you're going to really give it the old college try. Okay, we've got 3 years here to try to win a title. We're going to give it all with Brock. And if it doesn't work, we have our exit ramp. We have our way out after 3 seasons. I would be really skeptical about giving Brock Purdy $50+ million because at that moment in time, you're almost freezing your roster in place and you're saying we're good enough to win a championship. And I just don't think that roster, that team, I honestly, they missed their moment. They missed their chance.
I agree. They were up 10 at half in the Super Bowl. They lost twice.
That's it. And unfortunately, I hate to boil sports down to that, but they missed. And they can try to keep chasing that if they want to. I don't think it'll end well, but they have to be really, really careful with how they structure this deal.
They lost twice in the Kyle Shanahan era with a 10-point lead at the half in 2 different Super Bowls. And you lost one in overtime because you had a player go out there and wanted to receive, not know the rules. Is what it is. The MLB.com.
Okay.
They polled 46 of the MVP voters to make votes right now in the season.
Aaron Judge.
Unanimous. Got all 46.
Aaron Judge, the AL MVP.
Yes, it was the...
Ship him the award now. You don't even need to send out the ballots. Make the trophy, engrave his name on it, send it to his personal residence.
But the more interesting one comes in the National League.
3 guys that come top of mind. Let me see if I can get all 3.
Okay.
Pete Alonso.
Led the league with 17 votes.
Shohei Ohtani.
8 votes in 3rd.
Corbin Carroll.
No first place votes in 5th.
I mean, I know he's struggled.
One in the same division as Carroll. One more in that division.
In the same division as Corbin Carroll.
And he's been awesome, by the way.
I have to think of another NL West player who's not immediately coming to mind. He plays for the Padres, probably.
He does.
And his name is Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yep. And the other player above Corbin Carroll is Kyle Tucker.
Tucker's been
awesome.
He's had a great season in Chicago.
By the way, you look at this list and you go, okay, makes sense. You know, your initial reaction is Corbin Carroll's too low, but the other 4 certainly makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's the NL MVP race is going to be a fun one.
It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. That'll do it for us. Jim Rome is coming up next. Producer Evan, thank you for all that you do. Everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya!
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe Phoenix and KSLA